You're doing good. It seems like a lot, but just keep going. So when I say go, breathe in, but hold it in for 15 seconds. And then let it go if you still got it. What are the effects you feel? Just curious.
I still kind of feel weird. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like,
Interesting. So you said you were locked into the charger, but you don't know why?
I don't know why. I just
Was your mind racing or no?
No, it was like empty.
That's the point.
Completely empty.
It literally makes your mind completely still. If you came here to learn about the greasiest sandwich, the most disgusting sugar-filled candy, you've come to the wrong place. That's gazelles only. You came to lions only.
Lions only.
That was a funny joke, Brendan. Anyways, so welcome to the podcast. Next episode 3 already, right? It's been a while. How have you guys been since I haven't seen you in what, like a week? Something like that?
At least, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. I've been keeping track.
It's been something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Anything new? Anything going on that's new?
Just getting after it, my man.
Every day. Nothing changes then, huh? Same old.
Yeah.
Just getting
Same
after
old.
it. Going to the gym, right?
Homeostasis.
Some of us.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Now the gym.
Going to the home.
At home.
See, I like that. And that's actually a funny segue because I believe today's topic is at-home workouts.
That's right.
Right? Absolutely. And what we were actually going to do, I think, to start off these at-home workouts is we could actually do, there's breathing routines, breathing exercises that are very, very prominent in the Wim Hof method, which I'm a big doer of. Cold exposure, alkaline breathing, your overall mental focus, your mindset, right? So I think we were talking last episode about potentially starting this one with a breathing exercise and kind of seeing where we go for it, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's
Right?
my first time. So
Exactly.
I know that you guys are big on this. Literally never even looked into it. Don't really know what I'm getting into at this point. So very interested though, based on what you have a lot of high praise for it. So I'm excited.
Sure.
Brave man.
I don't know why. I just
Was your
couldn't-
mind racing or no?
No, it was like empty.
That's the point.
Completely empty.
It literally makes your mind completely still. In my, like, when I do it, I don't know about you, racing thoughts gone.
Yeah, it was.
Like, I can focus on one specific thing. What I do is I put in my my Skyrim atmospheres from the Jeremy Soule
That would be
OST
sick.
on Spotify, and I like literally even focus on like these certain harmonic frequencies. And so yeah, once you do that 3 to 5 times, I do it at least 3 times a day, right? 3 rounds, but you could start seeing your stamina increase. You actually can, and we're not getting paid for this. We're not paid by Wim Hof or anything like that, but I think it's just an awesome procedure. It's an awesome method. You can
If it
download
works,
the
it
app.
works.
That's what I'm saying. You could download the app. You can track your breath holds. And I've done 3 minutes. I've heard people doing like freaking 4.5, 5 minutes.
Honestly, I was impressed that I was able to do it that long. I like didn't feel like I had to breathe in again.
That's the coolest thing.
I don't know what it was. I'm still kind of like confused with what just happened in my body. Like,
But it's a curious sensation.
honestly, it was like really peaceful. Like my body just felt empty and my mind felt empty. I didn't feel much. I don't know how else to describe that.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool. So what would you say the benefits of that are? Because like besides just a cool feeling in your body, what do you think the
alkalization of your blood. So,
Okay.
and again, we're not a scientist. Please look at the disclaimer. First off,
Right.
I want to say if anyone's going to do that breathing video, start with the Wim Hof's video that's about 11 minutes online about just like basic guided breathing session. because not only is it just structured better, I think he does a better job at explaining the stuff than I do, and his voice is just cool. It's like when you're done, you're like, that was nice, that was cool, and then you're just ready for sleep or something, man. But anyways, because I like doing it at the end of the day. Some people are different, but as far as the benefits go, so studies actually show that cancer doesn't like growing in acid or alkalized blood. So, or alkaline blood, it likes growing in acidic blood. So the cool thing about that is you're actually like filling your body with so much oxygen that your blood pH starts to shift. So the nice thing about that, and kind of why I think last week we were talking about John Scott saying his indulgence, right? Was basically that's because the headaches, any issues that come with a hangover, overindulgence in alcohol, and frankly, I could see it in even like overindulgence in food the next day, and you're like feeling all crappy and stuff. It's actually the acidity of your blood. So when you alkalize your blood, that takes that away. Boom, no hangover. Throw that in with a cold plunge or a cold shower for 3 to 5 minutes, and you're a new man, you're a new lion, you're a new woman, you're a new lioness, whatever you want to call it. And it's amazing. Now, I am not a licensed, there actually literally is like licensed Wim Hof practitioners. I am not one of them. I'm literally just the dude that really likes doing it because it's revolutionized my life. Again, disclaimer, I cannot say that enough. But
Right.
yeah, so that's the benefit, and it's super nice, super cute.
I usually do it in the mornings. I think one thing that's really important is your focus. And maintaining your focus throughout the day on the things that are important, on things that matter, on what your objectives are. And like you mentioned, it's such a great way to clear your mind. And whenever I wake up in the morning, I see my emails on my phone, I look at my calendar, and there's like all these people I have to talk to, things I have to do, whatever. It's a great way to focus on what your mission is, in maybe a more deep and philosophical sense, like what is your calling? Like, why are you here?
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really does. Like, it's a great way, like if you do any journaling or self-reflection, it's a great way to kind of approach like what you want to get out of every single day. And it can probably improve, like the health effects is just like a baseline. That's just like right upon doing it, your blood has been alkalized. You remove maybe some of these toxins or
100%.
and everything. But then like, what does that do for you over time? I think it can definitely impact your mindset. We talk about that as a pillar here. What else have you mentioned cardiovascular improvement? And that's what I'm really curious about, like how this improves your ability to improve your cardio. Talk to me about that.
What's so interesting is I really, really wish that I could put my finger on this is definitely because of the breathing, or it's definitely because of the cold, or it's just a combination of both, because I honestly really don't know.
Yeah.
But I have noticed a ginormous difference in my cardiovascular endurance. So basically how hard I'm able to work out. Most workouts I do, and like the vast majority of them, I feel like I can go harder at the very end. I don't, because then I don't want to work out over 2 hours. But like the past couple weeks, I've logged in a bunch of hour-and-a-half long, 40-minute lift sessions, and I'm like, I can keep going, but then I don't. But
so not to break that up, but
yeah, go ahead.
Is this something you would do to start your workout, or is this something you end your day with it? You mentioned, right?
Super good question. It depends really, because like, so my buddy Malachi that I'd love to get in a podcast sometime, he does it first thing when he wakes up. Mm-hmm. And this dude is it's so cool. So first off, he bought a new house.
Congratulations.
But basically,
Huge accomplishment.
Huge accomplishment,
Absolutely.
man. That's the lion bought a den, right? A den for his family, for his pride, as it were.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, he got like a tub outside to cold plunge in, right?
Cool.
So he says every day he wakes up and that's the first thing he does, and that's just a cool like smack in the face. What a good mental way to start your day too, right? I mean, like how minuscule does any other situation, any other problem that arises in your day seem when you literally were like, I literally was in 40-degree water for 5 minutes outside when it's 10 degrees outside, right? So anyways, it's just good for your mental fortitude. And I feel like I really want to do more research in the science of it, but like we were talking about this last week too, there's like endless research that's still being done on this topic, on cold exposure. It's something that's been done since like the Viking times and probably before, right? I mean, at that point, it's just jumping in cold water to get your adrenaline going, but there's no science behind that yet at that point. Yeah, ever since doing it, I feel like my cardiovascular endurance is just like shot completely through the roof. And I can just keep going and going and just, yeah, keep going.
So the guys who introduced me to the Wim Hof method, actually years before, this was during COVID, when everybody was stuck home, nobody could go work out at the gym. And so I had a couple of buddies who we'd go hiking all the time. We'd work out in the fields together because in the theme of at-home workouts and things you can do at home, the great thing about what you mentioned with these breathing exercises or with cold exposure is that you really can do it anywhere. Like if the gym is closed, you can go to a river, you can go to a creek or whatever, body of water, lake, and you can go and do these breathing exercises in the cold water and get all of that exposure. And another thing that my buddy mentioned, I won't mention his name here, just to keep him private.
Oh man, maybe I should have done that to Malachi. Oops.
Well, I'm not sure if he'd want me to or not. Maybe we'll get him on eventually. He's a really interesting guy. But he was focused a lot on the aspect of getting into, like physically into the water that is nearby you.
Yeah.
And like maybe there's no scientific, direct scientific benefit to that, but just as a purely just interesting thing you can do. There are so many amazing bodies of water. Like if you live in New England where we all live, we're kind of blessed by being around water at all times. This might be different depending on where you're viewing from, but if you have access to going to a river or something and you want to try these breathing exercises, that's a great way to, maybe it's not a traditional at-home workout, but it definitely, the effects are there.
100%.
And it's a cool thing to do.
Can I add one thing real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
If I'm you guys, try not to breathe in the water because actually there's risk of passing out when you're breathing. Like if you do like 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds, something like that. Don't do it in the water. We did not tell you to drown yourself. All right. Do it by a body of water. And actually what's kind of interesting is when you look at that, it actually reduces the sensitivity of your pain receptors when you're doing alkaline breathing. So what's pretty neat is actually if you do that right before going in the cold water, they say it doesn't hurt as much. I don't find it to hurt. It's more just maybe a little uncomfortable, right? Yeah. But what do we lions do? We get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
So,
am I right, boys?
Absolutely. What about just dipping your feet in while you do these exercises? It's a little safer, right? No risk of drowning there.
Yeah, actually.
So what do you do personally? Do you do it while you're in the water?
No, okay, I actually
so
almost did one time, and then I actually looked it up because I'm like, I don't want to die.
Right.
I had a bubble in my throat. What was that? It was weird. But and it said, don't do that. So, and I'm like, why? So I looked it up, and yeah, it's because there's risk of passing out. They don't do it in a sauna. Don't do it anywhere where if you become unconscious, it's not a very good
in a car
thing. Don't do it in a car. Do not do it when you're driving.
While you're driving, yeah.
Yeah, honestly. So full disclaimer. First off, like again, you'll hear me say this throughout our podcast a lot. Thanks, Dad, for making me scared of legal action. Read our disclaimer 10 times over, okay? We're not scientists. We're just dudes that like talking about fitness, all right? But where was I even going with that? Oh, yeah, Wim Hof's app. Download the Wim Hof app. Look at his method on his website. There's a whole like a whole list of instructions of where's safe to do it, where's not to do it. Because a very, very big part of this method, listen to your body. Just, it's not a competition. I mean, like, let's be real. I mean, I feel like if all of us are alpha lions, I mean, we want competition's a big deal, but it's not about that. It's about your spirituality, your mindset. It's about feeling good, right? So if you like, if everyone, all of your friends are like, oh, I can do 60, I can do 90 minutes, I could do 247. Just saying. That doesn't mean do 248 and then freaking pass out in the process. Listen to your body, right?
That's not doing you anything if you're passing out, right?
Say it again.
That's not doing you anything if you're passing out.
Oh my God, no, absolutely not.
Yeah,
you're passing out.
Yeah, you're passing out.
So bottom line on application: do the breath work before you go into the water.
100%
plunge. Awesome. I want to transition a little bit here to.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I want to transition to working out at home and like getting some hypertrophy in.
What a nice idea.
Yeah. So my first question for you, both of you, is what do you guys do at home to work out?
Ooh.
Why don't you take it first? We'll go around the same.
Where's your expertise?
Are you sure? Okay.
I'm sure. If I want to say something, I'll chime in.
I box. So I have, that was probably really loud and clip the mic. I box. I have a boxing bag downstairs, and also do not laugh because look, I was what was my highest? 245 pounds. Okay. I was that much. And now I'm 176. 176. Oculus boxing. Oculus in general. Technology's a cool thing. I'm just gonna say. People say, "Oh, like in your VR, go out in the real world." Yeah, do that. But like, what if, right? What if you can't go out in the real world? What if you want to jog and it's pouring rain and it's? I'll say it's the winter. Jogging in the rain might be kind of fun, but dangerous. So you could slip. Oculus, right? You can play VR games. You could be a medieval knight and cut people's heads off and do some crazy stuff. You can box. I did that this morning for 50 minutes and I forgot how much. I sent it to you. A bunch of calories.
Yeah.
That stuff, like, really just, it's fun, and you don't realize it. And then you look at your timer, and you're like, it's been an hour? Like,
I have a friend that works out with that game Beat Saber. I don't know if you know that one. It's a really popular one. It's a pretty good cardio workout. You're constantly going.
That's what I'm saying.
I haven't tried it personally. I'm more of a traditional cardio person. I also just don't have a VR headset. I mean, I couldn't say that I wouldn't try it if I had one, but yeah, no, it can be definitely a good cardio workout.
I would highly recommend it if anyone can. I mean, obviously, like, let's be real. I mean, if you could spar a person versus spar VR, what would I recommend? A person, honestly, because, and I'm not saying go get in fights and stuff like that, but there's a lot of just benefits of testosterone and energy and adrenaline and stuff doing that, right? Mm-hmm. Safely, of course. But like, if someone doesn't necessarily want to take that step, I am all about technology for using VR for fitness, because it's helped a lot of people. It's helped me. It's really helped me a lot. Yeah. But so for me, it's VR and in just boxing, like my heavy bag or something, or like sometimes, would you consider when you and I spar an at-home workout? It kind of is, no?
Yeah.
Right? Because we're not in the gym.
As long as you have a friend.
We're at home. Yeah. We got a friend. But like, what do you do? Because you're pretty big on the at-home workout.
You're
stuff,
exclusively at home. Is that
at the moment?
Is that correct?
I would like to start going to the gym, but I have a lot of scheduling restrictions that make it very difficult for me to make the time. So,
but the cool thing is that instead of making an excuse though and not working out at all, you find time to do it at home.
Well, that's my big thing.
That's a lion.
Yeah, exactly. My big thing is that, you know, everyone's got something. You got something to work with at home. I mean, I have dumbbells. I have, like, what are they called? Resistance bands. A lot of stuff like that I can work with. And I have a bike, which is where I do most of my working out.
Nice.
Let's go.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things. It helped me lose a lot of the weight that I lost.
I like that.
But that's where a lot of my workout takes place, is on the exercise bike. So I'll do a lot of arm workouts or chest and back workouts while I'm on the bike. So I'm kind of doing two birds with one stone. And at the beginning, it was just because of convenience and because I didn't want to spend a lot of time. And over time, I started getting off the bike because I felt like I wasn't doing enough while I was on the bike. I started doing squats, which... not topic for another time. I started doing a lot of different types of push-ups, ass workouts, a lot of different types of push-ups. I got a pull-up bar, so that's a big thing that I work with too. Just a lot of different body weight exercises. You can do a lot with just your body. You don't need to go to the gym if you really can't, or you're too self-conscious. There's a starting point for everyone, and it's in your house.
Absolutely. I like that.
And there's no excuse not to do it. Like, I also personally don't work out my abs. I know there's a lot of ab workouts that people like to do at home too. I'm not an ab workout.
We're going to shame you into becoming an ab workout.
Dude, I didn't do abs for a long time either, but it depends on what the end goal is. Now I just care about getting shredded, so I'm going to do abs and stuff, but like...
Yeah. I plan on picking it up. But
but whatever. I mean, look at you, dude.
Once summer comes around, you'll be forced to, because you can't go out looking like a schmuck without a six-pack.
No, exactly. I'll get there. I was actually thinking about starting to work it in soon with the new year. Blame it on that. So yeah.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because I think, you know, abs are like, and push-ups and pull-ups and all these things, like, that's like 90% of the fundamentals to being healthy as a human being. Like, I'm not sure if you really need to. Now, it's great if you want to get super jacked, right? Just get huge muscles and go to the gym. That's a good thing, and I don't think there's really any drawback. But like you said, there's no excuse to, if you have excuses to not go to the gym that are valid, there's really no excuse that's not valid to doing push-ups, getting a pull-up bar, and that stuff builds functional strength. You know, there's that motion, that pushing and pulling motion. There's only so many things you can do with your arms, you know, and that covers two of the big ones.
Right.
And getting into an ab circuit, I don't know if there's like any equipment that I think you need in order to improve your core strength. I think almost everything that I do personally, and I want to know your takes about this when it comes to ab routines, but like almost everything I do is just body weight. And
There was a lot of
it's
machines that I used to
time-dependent.
like at the gym, like when I did go. that
Those can
were-
be, those can be nice.
That's what I liked using those, but that was back in the day. So I definitely don't use anything like that now. Obviously, I don't
Yeah.
have one of those big machines in my house. If I did, I'd probably use it because they're very expensive. But yeah, I know a big, what's it called? Like a bump in the road for people like at the beginning of the mountain is people don't like push-ups, which I think is one of the most important workouts that you can do.
The most important.
Yeah,
The most
workout.
important.
Do push-ups.
But
100%.
They're
it's
good for you.
Totally okay to start on your knees. You're not a less of a person because you can't lift your whole body weight. Like a lot of my friends feel like embarrassed because they can't do like 10 normal push-ups. Like it's okay, start on your knees, build yourself up. But there's no excuse not to do that. Just because you feel bad about yourself doing it, you're gonna feel bad for a while. Like there's a reason you're starting to work out.
Yeah, literally.
I'm not gonna assume everyone's in terrible shape, but like maybe that's not the nicest thing to say. But that's where I was. I was feeling not great about myself. I started with knee push-ups because I just couldn't do it, and eventually I found myself on my toes. So it'll happen. You just got to start doing it. There's no excuse to not start doing it.
I like that.
I had a friend in college who he was an ROTC, so they had to do a ton of push-ups because they're in the military. And that's like a baseline fitness measurement or whatever. So he'd be in the dorm doing his push-up routines. I think he did like hundreds, maybe 500 push-ups every single day. But it's kind of to what you're saying, where it wasn't 500 like perfect form, slow push-ups and everything. That as soon as he would do as many as he could on his toes, and once his chest got so burnt out by
Yeah.
that, he'd do them on his knees. Once that was too much, he starts leaning against the wall and does him leaning against the wall. But he got his like whatever his number was in every single day, and he was he's a beast. I used to go work out with him on the bench press. I've had this experience with multiple people who absolutely leapfrog their way up bench pressing numbers just by doing a ton of push-ups at home.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know again, not scientists. So I don't know why exactly it is that you do body weight a ton, why that would affect your raw strength for just like 6 or 8 reps or something. But yeah, I can think of at least 3 people that I used to box with. Plus this one kid who would do a ton of push-ups in the dorm, who the push-ups lead to huge improvements in the bench press. And if you're looking to try and increase your strength, there's a free piece of knowledge for you. Do some more push-ups.
And I don't even know what my bench is at this point. I haven't been in the gym in a while, so I don't even know what I could put up. But I know I could do a bunch of push-ups. That's all I know right now.
That's all you need.
Do you guys actually know who's really big on push-ups?
Who's that?
Wim Hof. Dead
Interesting.
serious. On his app,
Full
actually,
circle.
it always talks. Actually, what's kind of funny is, see, I tried this though, and it didn't really work for me. I felt weird
Talk about it though. What
You do the breathing exercise, but on the breath hold, doing push-ups while you're doing that.
Okay, so you like.
Isn't that interesting?
badass.
Yeah.
So it's like a breathing technique you can use while you're doing push-ups.
Yeah, like basically you do the breathing, and then on that breath hold where you're holding it for like a minute,
That
you
sounds
just
intense.
bang out a bunch of push-ups. It's actually really intense.
Sounds
But he
like
has
it.
this thing on the app, so you can track a bunch of different stuff, and you could even track up how many push-ups you can do at that time.
It's really
pretty
interesting.
neat. But
I
actually,
would
yeah,
be willing to give that a try because I'm a big fan of push-ups. Again, I didn't used to be. I used to be on my knees. We all start somewhere, but I love push-ups now. It's one of my favorite things to do.
it's a big thing. Look at
And
even
that exercise we just started this episode with, that felt really good. I'd be interested how you could apply that to a push-up.
I wonder. Yeah, I want to see I don't practice that a whole lot. So, but
Yeah, what
I'm
did it
gonna
do for you?
I'm gonna try that. Say it again.
You tried it, right?
Doing
it with a push-up?
I did. It was actually really hard.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Didn't have the same
did
effect as doing. Yeah.
I did like 5 push-ups, and I was like, "This is weird." Now, granted, I was like by a pool in Naples, Florida, and I was just trying to chill.
Okay, so you
but I
had
was
some other
like,
stuff
I don't
going
know.
on.
I thought it would be like relaxing, but I feel like you might just have to kind of like it might just be like a mental grit type thing.
Yeah,
but-
that's weird because you're mixing something that's supposed to relax your body with something that's like putting stress on your body.
Right.
I would wonder how that would mix.
It's interesting. I wonder if it's like a psychological practice of just kind of blending the two
could
so
be.
that your stress ends up becoming peaceful.
Right.
Like, for example, I'm at the point now where like I'll work out and do an intense workout, but it's kind of peaceful. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's weird. But I listen to metal music as I lift, but like it's just, there's something peaceful about it. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, even like as far as push-ups go, I think it's interesting. I mean, it really is one of the most important workouts you could possibly do. Look at, you guys ever do P90X?
Yeah, I've
Heard of-
done it before.
Half
Honestly-
the chest workouts are push-ups.
Right. It's different
Right?
types of push-ups.
Just a bunch of different types. But
I think going off of that, that idea. One of the best things I could recommend is, start putting in different types of push-ups into your routine. So I do between like 300 and 400 push-ups a day. Just
Holy
like,
God. No way, really?
like I've just, whenever I have a free moment, I think I even started doing this in high school. I had a buddy and we would call them piss ups. Every time you take a piss, you do as many push-ups as you can. That was what it started to be crazy.
While you're doing it? You
No.
pee while you do push-ups. You pig.
Don't be silly.
While you do it.
Yeah, but no, if I do a lot of push-ups every day, but I always do like a certain amount every type. So like you have your basic, where your arms are kind of out here and you're using mostly your chest, versus if you have a closer
Close
grip,
grip.
or if you even go with like the diamond push-up and you're really isolating your triceps.
Right.
What I've been doing lately, because I've been curious about like how it affects punching power, because Alex and I both box, so something we think about is plyometric push-ups, where you're just kind of like exploding off. So you're like clapping in between the push-ups, or you're just pushing yourself as far off of the ground as you can and working on like slowly lowering yourself, and then that explosion, putting as much power into that movement as possible. So that's what I do as far as push-ups are concerned. I want to hear about what y'all do in terms of like the variations with push-ups, or if there's other stuff you want to talk about that you do at home that is equally vital to your success.
Another one that I've tried recently too, and if you don't have a lot of stuff to work out your back, it's a good one for your back. I don't know what the proper name for it. Maybe you'll know what it is. It's like a mountain almost. You put your hands like above your head, and you like you arch your back all the way up in the air, like your ass is in the air. I don't know what it's called. I call them like mountain push-ups. I don't know if there's another word for it.
And you're like using the top of your shoulder.
Yeah, it's a good like shoulder and back workout. So that's another one that I'll do on like back days. Because you might not have a lot of stuff to work out your back at home. That's one that I find that's kind of difficult, because like you have a lot of things you can do with your chest, your abs. But
Is that what got your back shredded? That picture?
you could be. I do a lot of back
That was a nice back, man.
Thanks. I'm working on it.
Good back.
I took a picture like a month or two ago, and I was like, there's nothing back there. I gotta fix this.
Human beings are one of the only animals that throws things. If you go and you watch animals, if you go to the zoo and just look at the different animals, most of them don't throw the way that you do. Even the ones that do, it's like monkeys, right? And they're like throwing poop at each other. They don't have the right mechanics, So having a uncompromised shoulder joint is so important. I think it's great that you talk about it's almost like a military press, right? Because you're at such an angle.
It's a weird angle. It feels weird at first, honestly. Like.
Yeah, I'm convinced having powerful shoulders will, you just feel more powerful.
It feels good
everywhere you go.
For sure.
Your shoulder, when your clothes start fitting you differently, because you have actually changed your morphology, that's a great feeling to have.
It's the best.
So, yeah, it's important.
Yeah, but that's another one that you can do. Easy back workout. I mean, I'm not going to say easy. Again, we talked about push-ups not being easy. Another one I'll do is when you start struggling to like challenge yourself with push-ups, if you're not going for high reps, you can always put your feet up on something. That doesn't feel good. That'll get you going. I've been putting mine up on my couch. Sometimes I go up on the arm of the couch if I'm really trying to kill my chest and not go for high reps. There's different variations you can do with stuff like that. And you already mentioned the close grip for your triceps. You got like all your upper body movements and groups there that you can do with just push-ups. You can make a whole workout routine with just push-ups.
When you guys are doing push-ups, do you like try to isolate the different parts of the chest to work out?
Definitely depending on like which push-up I'm doing. Like,
I would say the same thing.
If I'm doing close grip, I'm trying to feel it in my triceps. If I'm doing like a standard grip, I'm trying to like really isolate my chest when I'm doing it.
What are you doing for the underneath guys?
The underneath guys?
Yeah.
For push-ups?
Like, for example, you're going to do a decline bench for work on that if you're doing a bench. So what are you guys do any kind? Yeah, like basically, do you do it like what I guess push-ups or whatever workout you do for that under part? Because that's the lift. That's like the whole, right? That's
If you have somewhere in your house that you can do dips with, dips are fantastic. You can get a big chest from doing dips.
Are you talking tricep dips, or are you talking about like?
It depends on the angle, because like the tricep dip is just going to be isolating more of your triceps. But in terms of getting at the bottom of your chest or your lower chest, I think if you angle yourself in such a way that your chest is like more exposed to the dipping motion, if that makes any sense, so that you're dipping in with your chest.
Yeah.
You can kind of control and isolate into that one area so that you're right at that precise point. But
so Nate, you can do that.
Yeah.
You even do that when you go to the gym and those
to a playground.
those tricep pull down machines where you're sitting like this.
Yeah.
You concentrate in a certain area and like,
Those are good.
flex your chest. You could
Right.
literally get like a chest work. It's cool how you could do that with your mind.
See, that's something
neat.
that I didn't catch on to until like probably a few months ago, is like really thinking about the muscle that I'm trying to isolate. Like I never really understood that concept. And then one day I just started like really thinking, like putting my mind to it, like you said.
Yeah.
You really can isolate it. If you're not feeling it the way that you think you should be, like really just think about it. Because
That's like
Isn't it-
super good advice.
It's so strange that we go to the gym and we see everybody working their muscles. And how many of these people are working their minds?
it's a great question. I mean, for a long time, I wasn't.
I think what you're really onto something with the mind muscle connection, and we talked about the Wim Hof method earlier as well. But being in touch with your body at a certain point that you understand, like you can really feel how your whole body is working. That is, I think that's another level you go to in the gym. And if you're working your mind, especially like I've talked about this before, but functional movements and functional patterns type of things. If you're a functional patterns person with their company, that they have great IP, and you should go to their website, Functional Patterns. We're not paid by them or anything, but I definitely subscribe to a lot of what they teach. But you're using your mind with a lot of functional compound movements, because you have to try and isolate specific muscles in a way that you really, like if you're doing a bicep curl, for instance, right? There's no way around the fact that you're using your bicep. But if you're trying to isolate a certain part of your chest in a push-up, you have to use your mind. And that's a very important thing to, I think, to becoming a more powerful athlete.
Right. I mean, even when it comes to like doing a curl, or a bicep curl, you could let your arm swing too much on this side. You could start trying to lean into it with your chest and like stuff like that. So you really, it is kind
Just
of
let
like
it fly. I'll edit in post production.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We're okay. I just let it slip sometimes. But like a lot of you got to be constantly thinking about what you're doing to your body. And for a long time, at least I wasn't. I was kind of just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Once you make that connection, I feel like you can really start towards progress with a lot of this stuff, at least.
Well, I'm sure it's been said 100 times before, but it can be said again. Form is everything.
It sure is.
You know, even like what you mentioned with the bicep curl, like, you know, I would personally argue there are other ways you can work your biceps that are more functional and will actually result in a movement that you would use. But even if you're just doing the bicep curl, even if you're just doing tricep extensions, whatever, right? Form is absolutely critical to making sure you avoid injury, and then also maximizing how much hypertrophy you get through the movement. If that's your goal, you want to get big muscles, you need to really push that hypertrophy through good form.
100%.
Yeah. And if you're working out at home, keep that in mind, because you won't have the mirrors necessarily. You won't have a gym buddy necessarily. I mean, maybe you do if you have somebody you live with.
Such an interesting topic.
But if you don't have somebody to hold you accountable to good form when you're working out at home, like, then you can run into problems, right? So avoid the problems by being proactive. Think about it.
If you are doing the wrong form from the start, it's going to continue to, like, if you eventually get to the point where you're developing muscle, you're starting to get to the gym, and you're still lifting the wrong way, you're going to have problems. It's just the way that it is.
100%.
Because I mean, some people let themselves kind of slip at the beginning. They're like, I'm working out, whatever. You know, I'm getting the reps in. I'm doing something for my body. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. It does matter if it's not perfect.
If you practice the wrong golf swing 1,000 times, and your golf game is going to suck. Doesn't matter. At least I'm playing golf, or is the game to not have freaking 100 strokes on one hole. I have 100 strokes on one hole because I'm awful at golf. So I'm not. It's fun though.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to discredit people who are just getting to the gym and like might not know how to do it, but like find resources. There are people out.
Yeah, figure out how to do it. If you
Exactly.
can watch this or listen to this, then you can definitely figure out what the proper way to do a,
Yeah.
I don't know, a row, a standing one arm
YouTube
row
it.
is. YouTube it. Yeah.
you guys
I'm
do that?
sure you have the ability to look
Like I
into
still
that.
do that. Do you guys do that even? Like if I like am getting bored of a workout, I'll look at like what's a weird like not so common bicep workout or chest workout or something like that, and then I'll look at a bunch of videos on it and be like, oh sick, I'm gonna try that in the gym the next day. Like I think looking up that stuff is yeah.
Don't be embarrassed of doing that either. I saw a guy at the gym literally this week who like he was doing that exact thing where he had some video, he'd say it on Instagram or something, and was looking at it in between sets, and he saw me looking at it and he turned his phone off. And I was like, I wish that you would just be confident and say like,
no
just
one's
rock it, man.
this is a cool workout, man. You should do this next.
100%.
I'm not
I
gonna
would
say
really
no
respect
one's
it if
judging
you
you.
said
I'd
that.
like to say that no one's judging you. Like you should. Like who cares? If this
Let's
person's
actually do
trying-
this.
Yeah.
Do you do like, because it's a very interesting point, because I had someone message me the other day. I'm gonna do what you did. I'm not gonna say their name.
Yeah, probably not in this
And
case.
they said, they were a little uncomfortable going to the gym and stuff because they think that people are judging. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, like, take it from me, and this is we'll kind of go around and see. Do you really, honestly, right? No shame. We're human beings, right? That's all I'll say. You really judge anybody, or are you just doing your thing?
So I feel I'm of the mindset, and I'm sure a lot of people are like this too. When I see like a heavier set person in the gym, I'm like, good for you.
Boom.
Exactly. Thank God someone's trying to better themselves, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm
That's
always
the right
like
response.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's a person out there who's like, wow, get this person out of the gym. This place is for people who are shredded only. It's like people start somewhere. They got to.
Exactly right. So I think we're all in agreement with that.
I have a caveat to that to add, though.
Let's hear it.
If you're going to the gym, or if you're at home, or you're doing any sort of physical workout and you are spending more time on your phone than actually working, you are cheating yourself.
Yep.
And you're losing, you're cheating yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're not actually working out if you're on your phone. Honestly, like, I think it can be helpful. Sometimes I'll just put my phone in my locker.
Yeah.
When I go to especially if I have
do music?
So this is an interesting topic. I've gone on and off.
That is
with music.
Interesting, man. Okay.
I've gone on and off with music.
like I
I
could
heard,
without
Right?
I'm sure we've mentioned a couple of big names in the fitness, like Wim Hof. So David Goggins, I heard him talk about how if you use music, you're cheating. Because anybody can get amped up and want to work out if you're listening to music, but the real badasses of the world, they don't need it.
Interesting.
So, to summarize sort of his
That's
point
a
on
mind.
that,
I like that.
Yeah.
it's like I said, work your mind, man.
You know who
Work-
does
work your
that?
body, work your mind.
My cousin. I will shout her out because she's a badass. My cousin
go.
Alyssa. You could, dear Alyssa, that host. She does that. She actually has this thing where if there's a workout that she doesn't like, she'll force herself to not do it with music. Isn't that kind of cool?
That's interesting.
I think
That's
that's
That's really awesome. I
Or
love
rather,
that.
she'll force herself to do it without music. That was worded weird.
I think
wasn't
that's
it?
a better.
I
You guys
Yeah.
got what I was saying,
we,
right?
we did.
Good. Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's-
think that's interesting.
I cannot picture myself working out without music. And actually, on the topic, the way that I got myself into working out again is because I work out at home. I actually got myself into working out by watching Netflix or just streaming services while I was on the bike. That was just, that's how I started.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Whatever.
No, I mean, it was a way that I got myself exercising,
Exactly.
and I think that's okay. I was kind of like letting my body do its thing while I was tuning out, and that was okay to get started. A while ago, I realized that I was kind of cheating myself. I was sitting there like, I'm not sweating. What's going on? And it's because I was focused too much on what I was watching, and my body wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't getting the pump I usually get. So I had to turn away from that, and I think that follows what you were saying with your phone. You're kind of just
Totally.
like not doing your body its service, and so. Yeah, I feel like if you're focusing on two things at once, like if you're texting while you're working out, you're putting your mind into a different place than other than like being focused on your body. It's you're not doing yourself the service it needs.
You're also impeding someone else's workout too if you're hogging weights that they want to do, and then you go and you do. I'm not. See, fine line. I'm not trying to make fun of someone doing 2 curls and then putting it down and then being on their
Right.
phone for 10 minutes. Because the whole point that I think that people need to do and train themselves, and I'm honestly guilty of it too, is it doesn't matter how many reps they're doing. They're still trying to work out. But at the same time, I don't know. Like you said, I mean, if you're going to be on your phone for like 10 minutes, I don't know. Just let someone else take the weights, and you're damaging your own productivity and also others around you.
Right.
If you're in a gym setting.
Yeah,
But
not so much at home, but still, you're cheating yourself at that point.
100%.
Brendan, I really like that you mentioned part of getting back into shape for you was being on a bike. Now, this is an investment, right? Because they're not cheap to get, but having a spin bike at your house can be transformational. I remember like maybe 6 months ago, it was last summer. So I had already I was getting back in the gym. I was feeling good about myself, lost a ton of weight. You know, I was lifting more weight than I used to before when I was in college. So I thought I was the man, right? My wife is a big time, she's one of the spinning people. So she goes to spin class
Really?
and everything. Yeah. She's trying to become a spin instructor right now, actually. So
Good for her.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
yeah, she's a beast. But she took me to one of her classes, and I figured, okay, 40 minutes, bunch of chicks, it'll be fine. You know, obviously, spin class is hard. I learned the hard way. This is actually a very, very difficult endeavor to go on. It was unbelievably difficult for me because I had never done it before. I was just basically used to the traditional lifts you do in the gym, go running here and there, go hiking here and there. But spinning on a bike where you have focus, intense periods of sprints, and then you're climbing hills, and then there's not much resistance, but you're still having to move your feet really fast. It's super challenging, and you burn a ton of calories doing it. So we got a spin bike in our house that the wife uses, and so every a Saturday morning or something, I'll hop on the bike and do a quick 30 minutes trying to go hard, attempting to go hard. I'm sure all the people who go to spin class would look at me and laugh, but attempting to go hard.
Too, honestly.
Yeah, I'm sweating. I'm my legs hurt because they're just sore from having to exert so much force if I have it turned up a lot. So it's fantastic. I can't, if you have the money to make that investment and that's something you're interested in doing, it's a great way to get your cardio in. And the best point, I know I've been talking a little bit, but just to kind of close out here, if you're running, right? One thing that I hear all the time from runners, and I think it's true for myself as well, is you're putting tons of repetitive, percussive, mechanical pressure and damage on your knees and on your joints.
Yep.
And you take away 99% of that by having a spin bike with the fluid motion.
Exactly.
And so if you're trying to avoid injury, which in my opinion should be your number one priority if you're working out, because if you get injured, then you can't work out anymore. Game over.
Exactly.
Right? So it's a great tool for that reason as well, to get in a lot of cardio.
And yeah, that's a big reason that I got a bike instead of a treadmill, is because I have some, just historically, since I was a kid, I've had some weak ankles. I run really heavy. I land hard on and I don't know how to correct that. So I feel like it's been a while. I don't know if it's going to correct itself. I don't know. So I got a bike.
Probably won't correct itself.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to correct itself. But I've always played sports, and I always had to wear ankle braces. I have weak ankles, and it's probably something that I could solve with a lot of thought and effort, but I just haven't done that. So I got a bike, and that helps me avoid any issues that I would have with that. And and you mentioned that it can be expensive. It can be, for sure. I just had a friend buy a Peloton, which is the top. But I got mine used, so
yeah.
Someone else's ass sweats deep in there, but that's okay with me, I guess.
Makes it better.
We're mixing it together, so got a little cocktail of ass sweat going in there. But you can get them used if you're not grossed out about it, which I'm not. I can understand if you are. New, they're pretty expensive, but I don't know. It's to me, it's a no excuse thing. It's a tiny little thing. Mine folds up so I can put it away if I need the space, and it's the best thing that I could do for cardio, because out in the wintertime, not the best environments for running. Some people, I don't know. Do you go for runs in the winter? No, it's something
I'll
that
still
I
go
used
in the
to do.
cold, but I won't.
I know. I was gonna say.
Actually, I kind of want to start getting into that though.
Cardio.
My
in
wife's
the winter,
inspiring me to jog more.
The cold air.
Free air conditioning.
Free air. True. Yeah, I always see those people in short shorts and a t-shirt running through in the winter. I'm like, that is wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I get all my cardio in on a bike, and it's what got me into everything. I swear by it. I think it's a great way for people to start working out if you're really not confident going to a gym. Like you said, you had a lot of transformations. Actually, you got your bike after that, right?
I got my bike after that, yeah. But, it was inherited, actually.
Cool. Yeah. It's a good way to start. It's a very, the way I started watching Netflix. It got me where I am now. I've only been doing it for about 5 months, but I've lost
Do you have a subscription service, or do you just have the bike without?
I just have the bike.
Okay.
So I don't have, but you can look up videos for routines and
I think
stuff.
that's the better way to do it.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I think you can spend, because Peloton, I think, is a subscription service,
It
right?
sure
you
is. You can buy the bike without the subscription, but you're going to miss out on most of what you're buying.
Yeah, right, yeah. But if you have a subscription, you're just paying money for somebody else to try and motivate you to work out. Kind of goes to what I was saying about music. Why do you... Now, if that's something you want or something you need, then by all means go for it. But something to consider, do I want to pay money every single month for somebody to tell me to work out? Or do I just want to get a bike, pull up a YouTube video,
Or you can
free?
make your own routines. That's what I did for a long time.
Yeah.
I would do interval training on my own. I would increase the resistance in certain intervals. I would pedal as hard as I could for certain intervals. And that's what I started noticing a lot of weight loss, is when I was pushing myself that hard.
Yeah.
Because cycling it's wild.
So I know my wife, she has playlists for different things you do on the bike. There's the sprints and the climbs and whatnot. Do you have a sort of a set playlist that goes with your
That's
routine?
a cool idea, but I don't. That sounds
Okay.
really organized.
Okay.
I usually just listen to like a Spotify playlist and I just do my thing.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm less strict about the intervals now because I'm not as stressed about like losing weight. Like I have a few more pounds that I want to lose, but I'm mostly doing it for like the leg exercise and just like a little bit of cardio. I want to shred a few pounds, but not going as hard as I was before.
Sure.
Yeah. What do you do for cardio, by the way?
Box.
Oh, that's right. You did talk about that.
Yeah, I do that. I mean, what is that? Is that cardio and muscle
so.
now? I would consider
definitely.
that. That's got to be a pretty decent. I feel like it's a great shoulder workout, shoulder endurance, man.
For endurance, absolutely.
Right? Yeah, but also I don't, except for doing maybe swimmer's curls every other week. Like, I don't do a lot of shoulder exercises, but I feel like. I mean, obviously they could always be bigger, right?
Right.
My shoulders are pretty defined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think boxing probably has a lot to do with that.
I think it's got it. Like,
Definitely.
And what's great is,
pretty
like
neat.
you mentioned, is it's sort of like a combination of where you're building strength and cardiovascular endurance at the same time. The other thing I really like that does the same thing as well, if you can manage it for sustained periods of time, is rowing. Like my gym has one of the erg machines to row on, and if you have any background in like crew, then maybe my numbers are not that impressive. But if I'm trying to hold like a 150 split on that machine for 15 to 20 minutes, it is absolutely grueling. I definitely feel like a huge amount of burn in my back and shoulders and everything, because you're pulling a pretty significant amount of weight over and over and over again. Gets your heart rate up, and you get to combine again the cardio and muscular endurance without the potential for injury that you might get from running. Although running is great. I love running. It's great.
I'm really trying to get more into that.
I've always seen those machines. They look hard. Like anyone I've ever seen on those machines is like dying.
I think we mentioned before, like the importance of form and everything, and like sort of functional movements as well. Definitely go ahead, if you're going to start rowing, look into like how your back needs to
right
be, because
form,
like I know how to do it now where like my back doesn't get compromised, but when I first started doing it, I would bend over a little bit too much, and I'd put a ton of pressure like right in the middle of my back where the back sort of bent. So that's not good. Definitely want to avoid any
Not doing
injury.
yourself favors, yeah.
So that's the one thing I would say about rowing, because I do see some people who go on it, and I almost want to like just tap their shoulder and say, it
Gonna
hurts
hurt
me
yourself.
to watch you. Like you can, like I don't want to be, whatever. But that'd just be my one caveat I would add to rowing.
Right.
But other than that, I think we got a lot of good topics in here. Talked about push-ups, cardio, our non-advertised endorsement of the Wim Hof method and functional patterns.
Absolutely.
Because they work.
works.
If it works, it works. You can't argue with the results.
For sure.
Do you guys have any closing remarks for the at-home category?
There's no shame in it. If you're working out, you're working out.
Yeah.
That's the point, right?
Whatever
Do
gets
it.
you
Do
started.
it exactly. And if you have a lot of fun doing it, then keep doing it.
Yep.
And then eventually, if you're at the point where you want to go to the gym because you want to do new workouts and stuff, then do it. But the whole point is working out, being fit, and being a lion.
So there's no excuse. Don't start tomorrow. Start today. Like,
Exactly right.
There's always going to be an excuse that you can make. Like everyone's so good at making excuses for yourselves. Just do it.
Exactly right.
You're never going to stop making excuses if you start making excuses. It's just, you got to do it.
Like tomorrow's a Sunday, for example. Is that a rest day? No.
No, just do it.
I'm going to box for like an hour and a half tomorrow. That's what's going to freaking happen, all right? I'm going to have my protein shake. I'm going to have my creatine. I'm going to have my amino acids, my pineapple extend amino acids twice for my muscle recovery. And I'm going to spend my whole day being a lion, and then I'm going to watch the Patriots play and kick Buffalo's ass. Hopefully. I really hope that this video ages well. How are we
All
feeling,
right.
boys?
I think that's a wrap.
I think that's
I
a
think
wrap.
so, too.
Thank you all for tuning in. Great conversation with you two men.
Absolutely. You
Until
guys
next
rock it.
time.
Lions only.